Hey everybody, what is going on? It's Al Wet Socks. Nope, that's not who this is. It's Alex Williamson. What's going on? How is everybody doing? Hey KBH Nanofish, what's up? Thomas, what's going down? Carbon, Skydancer, Xanadu, Crypt Keeper Aquatics, Roy Cooper. Let's see who else is in here. Sketty Nona, what's going on? Yeah, so I'm streaming a little bit off my normal time. Scuba Steve, what's going on? Nick Heap, what's up? Just hoping that, I'll see some folks that I don't normally see. And we had but today, Junior, we had a club meeting tonight. And honestly, I just was not feeling up to it. I've been very run down the last week and a half or so. So that's where we're at. But I figured, why not just take a look at what's going on in my world, in the fish room and stuff, and then also see what you guys are up to. See if anybody has any questions or anything like that. Chew, what's up? Liliana, hello. Henry, hello. Let me turn this around. All right, let's see here. Settings, camera, turn it around. 2 on 2. All right, how's that versus that? I like that. Let's keep that zoomed in. So if you guys didn't notice, I trimmed out the whole front of this aquarium and I took 5 pounds of plants out of just this area here. And then people were real worried in my short. I'm so glad that they're so concerned about my fish all of a sudden. But that the angels had nowhere to go because they like to hide in the corner with all the plants. But honestly, they've been able to swim all the way around here, all the way down into here, and then back around, and then they can loop out to over here where this is all pretty open, honestly. But I cleaned out the filter, so everything's looking a lot cleaner. And I moved the heater onto this side, and now it's been a year that I've had this heater in here, and so I can probably do my review video on what I think of the heater. But you guys can see I got some leaves melting in here, and I've got a nice, look how beautiful this Barclaya longifolia is. It is my favorite big leaf plant that you can get in the aquarium world. The leaves can get like 2 or 3 feet big if the conditions are right. And then next to it, I've got a Bolognese crypt with leaves that are wildly wide. And then we've got an Anubias fraseri that is crazy big now that it's out of the tank. And even with the potassium supplements I give this tank, it still looks like it's lacking either potassium or nitrates. And it could be nitrates because the nitrates run at 0 in this tank. No matter how many fish I seem to put in, they run at 0 just with all the plants and the substrate and all the areas that things can cycle on. Every surface is an area where beneficial bacteria can be. So what I did with all these trimmings is I've set them aside, and I wanted Jimmy P as well as Luke Wang or Perian Wang and also Steven Christensen and Alan Bauer, who have all sent me packages of plants. I wanted to send them some packages of plants. So they're all in a bag, and then hopefully tomorrow I can send those out. But I was also thinking about doing some sort of essentially a fundraiser just for I'm getting my teeth done, and it's going to be 15 grand up front. So I'm going to be in Florida in probably the spring, like March or something. And so as a part of that, I just want to have some extra cushiony funds. Hey, look at this. This is a Neocaridina Blue Dream shrimp that came out. He's got some blue spots on his side, but no other color. Let's get him out of there while we see him, because he's bad juju for the rest of the line as far as the color goes. Let's go grab a little dip net. But how's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing well. We're going to just kind of be winging it tonight and hanging out. And fish room lights aren't even on. We have a couple options of things we could do. I'll be turning on, obviously. We'll come back in here. We'll turn it on, all the lights. This place is like a wreck. All my there's a tank there, there's lights, there's all my art stuff, there's all the fish food in boxes. All of this is getting redone. I'm redoing how I'm doing everything here because I want little breeder tanks up here, and then I want mid-sized tanks here, which makes sense, and it kind of already is. And then I want to redo this breeder, and I think it's probably time, if I find someone who has a passion for the fish that are in here, for the African blue lips. I think it's time for them to probably get a move on. I do like my my cuckoo or Synodontis catfish, but I don't know. These guys are just kind of mean as a whole, these guys. And there's cribs in here too. And there's banjo cats, but yeah, as a whole, they've spawned a few times, eaten most of their babies. I think 1 or 2 babies survived, and it takes up a whole 40 breeder that I've got a 3.0 light on already. Like financially, that's a lot of money in my mind, anyways. So I feel like I want to take this tank and make it into more of like an aquascape tank again, or breed something in it, like breed something interesting in it for the channel, something rare maybe. And I have a plan too that I want to bounce off y'all, which is, the plan is I'm going to Jalisco, or rather the Mexican region of Puerto Vallarta. We're going north of there, and there's a whole bunch of goodeids, like the Amica splendens, for instance, is natural there. And so I'm kind of wondering if I'll be able to find any and maybe bring some of the goodeids back, some of the rare ones. And honestly, a lot of people aren't going there just because of the violence having to do with, well, you know, unfortunately, the what would you call that, so that we don't get demonetized immediately? The pow pow powder and so forth market. But basically, yeah, the whole territory has been taken over by, like, the government is run by those guys. And down in Mexico, my wife chose to go to this area, and it's called, the place we're going is an hour or half an hour north of Puerto Vallarta on the beach, and it's called, what is it called? Salulita. And we'll be going there. And I noticed that, like, the Amica River, we cross that. We cross a whole bunch of different, like, split fin, and also like the tequila goodeiid, the Jalisco goodeids. They're all right there, flowing in from creeks into the water. And yeah, and most universities haven't been able to get grants to go to those places because it's quote unquote not safe. But there's no travel like ban or anything right now by the US government. So we're gonna go and have an adventure. But I think it'll be interesting to see what what goodeids and stuff are present there. It should be really interesting. So we've got a lot of baby fish in the fish room right now, so that could be interesting. And I'll look at your comments in a minute, but let's get that shrimp out of its concoction, its tank over here. Are you scowling at my Salulita summary? All right, where is it? Is it still right up front? Of course not. But since I trimmed this, holy cow, look at all these blue dream shrimp. Some of these are not quite up to the caliber that I like to see. And then this is a lone survivor that a buddy sent me, Steve Christensen. He sent me this. And this is a new Rasbora that doesn't have, hold on, let's try to catch it so we can look at it up close. This is a new Rasbora that doesn't have a species name in Latin yet. It doesn't have a common name either, really. It's just being called by its location, which is like variata. And it looks very, very similar to the Somfong Rasbora. I'm guessing it'll get put in with the Trigonostigma ones, or Trigaster maybe. But anyways, I got one of them. He's supposed to send me more. This looks like a female to me with the way the belly, you see the darkness in her. I would assume, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, and we've got rocket killies all over in here. And the hope is that the rocket killies spawn without eating too terribly many of the blue dreams. But look at how many blue dreams we have in here. I mean, it's a blue dream. They're just everywhere. Where did that one clear one go? You would think it'd be easy to find one clear shrimp. Of course not, because it's the one clear shrimp. But while I'm in here, yeah, if anybody has questions, at Fishery or at Alex. Usually I don't see the at Alex as well unless you're a member. It doesn't put it in the top rating or top whatever, top priority. It'll do that though if you do at the secret history living in your aquarium. If you type that all the way out with the at symbol, then it should be highlighted for me. And we're running through StreamYard because my camera still has the problem of it won't rotate out of portrait mode, oddly enough. Now, the other thing I was going to show you guys before we got started, other than all these beautiful shrimp doing so well in here, is this. And this is what's left of the purple seeds and buds of the beautiful Aponogeton crispus purple. And last time when it bloomed, it just did its thing, bloomed, and then it sat around up top on top of the water here, and then it dried out a little bit, and then the seeds came out. Well, honestly, if anybody's ever seen pot seeds like that, like these little hard seeds that came out of a green kind of dry casing. But this time they didn't do that. This time it fell into the water again. It soaked, and they all started sprouting like little beans, but they were so delicate that even just barely touching them with my hand, it smushed some of them. So I moved the majority over into here, and I buried the like 4 or 5 I could salvage in right up here in the front, in shallow burial for seeds. And then some are still, I just cut up the whole, I guess, what would that be called? The calyx of the plant that has more seeds on it, or maybe, would that be the pistil? I don't know. I don't know what it's called on when they're all on that part of the plant like that with the seeds all around it. But there, hopefully we'll get a couple sprouts. I don't know. We'll find out. But here's one of the last intact seeds. and I kind of just cut it up and just sunk them down towards the substrate, hoping that that would mimic in the wild what happens. Now, something interesting's happened in this aquarium, and again, guys, I'll get to chat soon, I promise, is there is so much of the annoying, let's see if we can get a good shot of it, of this stuff here, this stringy. So whenever I pull up like algae or moss, I get it, but it's bladderwort. And so it looks like filament algae, and it has hardly any bladder galls on it. But then all of a sudden, when there is food in the water, when there are little micro foods for it to eat, you'll see these little cups on it. And the problem with this stuff is that it is so inundated in this tank that I can't in good conscience even send like Lucas or any of those guys. I can't send them any plants out of here because you guys see the hair, the little hairs of it, the little fibers. It's so interconnected, and it's just out of control, which is a bummer. So I got to figure out a way to treat that. I don't know if there is a way to treat that. Now, another interesting thing, look at this shrimp. She's got yellow to white eggs on her, which to me, I've never been able to sort out any sort of genetic link. Let's pull her to the front. She's got a little a cab ride I'm giving her. But I've never been able to figure out a correlation. Oh, those are about to hatch. I can see the eye on all of them. Of what color the babies are on the females, on the moms, versus what color they'll be or any genetic links later. Like they just seem to come out normal babies, no matter what color anything is. Also in this tank, the Stellatus Dawson is just out of control, and it also has all this hair algae or the bladderwort stuff on it. So if anybody knows how to get rid of bladderwort, like if there's a product that you guys have tried, I'd appreciate hearing it, but I'm not sure if it's safe with shrimp. Probably not, or other delicate plants. But it's making a mockery of this tank in that I have so many lovely little plants in here that are now stifled. And to get them out and to put them into a new tank or whatnot, I literally have to decontaminate them like freaking like that clean room scene from E.T. Where I put on a suit and I inflate a tent outside and I scare Drew Barrymore as a child. I have to do all of that to get these things out of here. So Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, what's up? How's it going? Let's see, who else is out there? Relic Turtle, hello. Yeah, autosynclus you'd think would help with it, but it's not an algae, it's an actual plant is the problem. But it's a plant that eats bugs. So the other thing that's doing that's making me angry, like look at how thick it gets here, is it is also eating all of the little goodies in the water. Like, well, I brought a flashlight to show you guys what I'm talking about, the goodies in the water. But before we do that, let me show you one more thing. Let me get the neck flashlight on. Up here, I had about half a dozen shrimp that just decided to make the filter media bin their home. Yeah, there's still a few in there. There's still one kind of sideways. It's hard to see. But there was one adult female in here for a long time. I guess she jumped out. But I thought that was interesting if they got sucked up or if they climbed up the algae there off the little waterfall. But either way, yeah, I guess we lost that clear shrimp. What a pity. But we've got a lot of good looking blues. So, you know, I just try to keep the colony as clean and clear with good looking shrimp as I can. And I've been splitting these electric blue ones, like these that are just, I mean, they're like jewels of blue, versus the ones that are so blue that they're dark, like navy blue. I've been trying to split those into different tanks. So every now and then I take a few of the best ones and move them. Here's another pregnant female. And this one's got dark gray to blue eggs. Kind of interesting. But yeah, so the genetics of these shrimp are kind of interesting. They're definitely varied. Here comes another pregnant female, and she's got pink eggs. So who knows what's going on with the crazy shrimp. And there goes another pregnant female that's so pregnant she can barely swim. Holy cannoli. I gotta get her to the front just to show you guys. Oh, and she's not a good color either. So we can cull her and bring her to another tank. Her babies might be fine, but look at they're yellow. Hold on, let's get a focus on her. They're yellow and whitish or greenish. Let's get that baby out of here. And she's got so many of those eggs that right now, when she was swimming, she couldn't swim right. She was like not able to move around because these eggs are loading her down. That is a very pregnant female shrimp right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take her and we're going to move her over into my filterless no-tech tank over here. We're going to put her in here. Hopefully she'll hatch those babies in there. Everything will be peachy keen. Let's get some light over here so you guys can see what's been going on. Just a quick update. Then I promise we'll be back to the chat. We'll go in the fish room. But in here, this is the little tiny 1 gallon jar, and it's just snails. I took the young bettas out of here. The 2 that were in here that were just kind of hanging out, growing out, needing to be separate. Took them out of there. We've got papyrus growing out of there. And then in this tank, we had a bunch of minnows, and we still have the Malawa shrimp doing well. We still have some of the blue coals. These are kind of the reject blues in here. There's some of them, but they don't seem to be doing quite as well as the Malawa shrimp were. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I was kind of putting any of the Riley or Riley pattern shrimp from the blue colony in here. And then there's still a few fish in here. If you take a look, I don't know if you guys can see them swimming around in there, but there's still some long fin mountain minnows or Tan's minnows or white clouds or meteor minnows, whatever you want to call them. They've got the yellow colorful long fin variety, but there's still 3 of them in here. And then the snails, they're doing their thing, and all the little critters that were once really abundant have kind of gone by the wayside because I don't feed this tank hardly ever. So I think that the fish and even the shrimp have kind of eaten some of them to the point where I just don't see a lot of them. I'm sure they'd come back, but right now they're just kind of MIA. But yeah, it's doing well. No filter. Just I've topped it off with water maybe 4 times. And it's a tangle of plants at the top, and the creeping Jenny is creeping up out of the container quite a bit. And you can see, look at all the little pollen and little seeds that it's distributed as it flowered, and then that died down. But it stayed pretty manageable, that jug. And I think it's because of the deep substrate. You can see there's some cyanobacteria. You can see the sulfur, the gas bubble of it's either nitrous oxide or sulfur, or methane, one of the three bubbles coming down from the area that has, it's too deep to actually have oxygen, and you can tell that by the rust line being all the way up here with the rusty stuff. It's just cyanobacteria is a magical thing. I'm trying not to film my wife, so that's why we're looking at the ceiling for a moment. What'd you say? All right, guys, so I will get to the chat. I promised I will. The last thing we were going to look at, oh, right, was the purple crispus. Once it bloomed, a lot of the leaves just bit the dust. They just melted away. And so I think this is another young one right here that is growing or trying to grow from the last seed attempt, maybe 6 to 7 months ago. Don't know for sure, though. And then the other thing that I was a little curious about, just because we didn't see her, was there is a huge female, in here that is a clown killie or rocket killie that is super, super wide, and I don't know where she's at. I usually see her front and center. Tonight, I don't see her, though. I saw all the other males scooting around doing their thing, but I wonder where she's at. It is a little cool to the touch, the water. And then also, by the way, my Logonandra meboldi is doing really, really good. This is the Pink Princess Silver Powder Cross, and when you put it in highlight, you still get the silver powder, if you guys can see that silver speckling, but you don't get the Pink Princess coloration. You get that in the shade, and mostly when it's growing out of water. Now these I got at Aquarium Co-op, these little clown killies or rocket killies. And what's really cool about them is they've got a pattern that, oh, I see, guys. We see the weirdo shrimp. Let's get him. Come on, weirdo shrimp. We've got you now. Hey, we got another big old pregnant shrimp here too. There we are. There's the weirdo. Come here, weirdo. And you can't even get weirdo without the babies. But look at that. It's almost completely wild type. It almost is completely reverted in one generation. Kind of strange. Hey, no, you're not escaping. So, we've got this one. We've got one little baby with it. So, whatever. We'll just take one good quality one and we'll mix them together. That equals like half a decent shrimp. We'll put them over here. And most of them are in the other room, though. And now that I look at it, I also want to pull this leaf out. I was going to let it be a little longer because it's still photosynthesizing, but it's pretty haggard and chewed up, so no need to let it be. Same with this one. These are just sapping energy from the Barclaya Barclaya, is that right? Barclaya longifolia, yes. My brain is scambled. Yeah, it's scambled. All right, we're going to leave my wife alone now. We're going to go back into the fish room and see what's cooking in there. It's really weird. I don't know where the big old rocket killie is. Although, what I'm seeing now is that there are more male rocket killies in here, because I refuse to call them clown killies. than I put in here. So that means that one of them grew up to be a baby. Grew up to be a baby. No, it grew up, and there's this mid-size adult, and then there's also a young size adult that just cruised by. They were chasing each other. But what I was going to tell you about these that I got from they were Corey's personal stash at the Aquarium Co-op, and he put them up for sale. And the interesting thing about them is they've got a silver patch on their forehead and nose that I've never seen before with any of the clown killies. But now they're all hiding. But yeah, I'd never seen that before. Oh, now I see the big female clown killie. She's back under here. She's huge. So let's see if we can get her to come forward just a bit, just to show off. Just to show people what, and look where she's at. She's down in the, look at all this bladderwort. This stuff just, it's the bane of my existence. But look at it. It's just thick, and it's like a web of these little pots that catch all the little important baby insects that I want growing in my tank. Not insects, but microcrustaceans, daphnia, things like that. It traps all of them. It's full of protein, so it will break down and be good plant fertilizer and all that. But did she come forward? Am I wasting your time? I need to pay more attention to you people in the chat, because after all, you're live. And well, these fish are live too, but that's what the live stream's all about. But oh, here we go. Here, hopefully we can see the silver spot on the head of one of these rocket killies, because I don't know, I think it's really interesting. I've never seen that where they have like a metallic, like a platinum dot on their forehead. And I don't know if it's that Corey got some special line, because sometimes he'll get stuff and then he kind of gets bored with it, or he's done playing with it, and then he'll bring it into the shop and put it in with all the other fish. And immediately I was like, that doesn't look like all the other rocket killies. What's the story? I need all of them. Anyways, I'll get a picture for it, and I'll either put it on Facebook or the community tab. But let's go back into the fish room. Hey, look, guys, I got my wife the perfect man for Christmas. Let's go. He's got freaky feet.
Your brain is tossed out.
1, 2, 3. She says that my brain is Frasier. Bring me that scrambled and salad. Hey, anybody playing that Mega Gabillions game now? All right, guys, it's back to just you and I. Now I can actually look at the chat and see what's going on. Right after we take a peek with the light and we look for any little stragglers of fish, because lately all the fish in this inlay biotope tank, they've been, go figure, having babies, and I've been finding itty bitty tiny, like they only are going to last, 60 seconds before something eats them, little tiny baby fish that are like almost larval, I'd say. Like they are so small. Oh, there's one in there. Did you guys see it? Did you guys get a chance to see the itty bitty tiny baby? Probably not. It's probably way too small. I barely got a chance to see it. Let's see if we can find it. But they are hers or his. And what's interesting is that they are making these little foam nests every night. Every single night they make these. And every night and day I check them to see if there's eggs. And usually there's not. But sometimes there are. And they're so small that they are nearly impossible to even feel with your fingers. I mean, these little fish in one of these lake inlay species of gouramis, they will have as many as 1,000 little babies, and so they really hatch out small, and they hatch within like 16 to 24 hours. But check out all that good micronutrients. That's what happens when you don't have all that dumb bladderwort eating up all your little critters. And so that's what these babies are surviving on. And they're so small that they have to survive on paramecium or single cell organisms for the first few like, I don't know, maybe week or so. And then after that, they can move up to maybe baby brine shrimp, but still, they're probably still not on baby brine shrimp yet. And that's what brings me to our final exhibit before we all sit down, I settle down and shut up, which is we're going up to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Right here, guys. Look at them all. We got some baby gouramis and some baby so it's hard to tell, but the babies down in the low area are actually the gouramis, and these are bettas. And there's quite a few if you look at how many. Some are not making it just on their own, like they're just not growing much and they're staying super tiny. Others are growing at a very fast rate. Like these ones here, they're growing really quickly against the glass here. And all that texture you see on the glass is algae and just mulm and stuff that I've tossed in there for them to eat while they're little. I tried to get them on some baby brine 2 nights ago, and they were still too young for it. Then over here, we've got the rainbow fish, and there aren't many of them in here. And the ones there are kind of hiding back on the leaf near the ground. But we're gonna crack that code later. We'll get more rainbow fish and spawning moth activity later this summer or winter, I mean. And then in here, all the little humpback lamias. I don't know where they ran off to. And then here's the food supply box, which is stinky as all get out, but it's full of scuds and paramecium, and you can see all that goodness in there. All those little white dots under a microscope are life. So there's that. And then on the way down, I'll show you guys lotuses or I guess, yeah, lotus or yeah, I would say the lotus is the right term. But these are great lilies and lotuses where they're getting holes in them like this. They start to break down, and check this out. Can you guys see? Look at that. That's single cell organisms hanging out next to the broken down lotus petals. You can see some even here all over. That's food, baby. That's paramecium that I don't have to make. So I've literally been taking the turkey baster, grabbing that out of there, and then over here in the standalone shrimp colony from Aquatic Arts, this has, again, no filter, no tech, no heater, anything. But there are also a number of baby fish in here too that are a little bigger than all the rest. So once I notice one that's bigger, that's maybe chasing some of the other babies around, I'm putting them in here. Now they're nowhere big enough yet that they could even threaten any of these shrimp at this size. But I'll have to keep an eye on them and make sure that that remains the case. So yeah, and in here there's everything from the dreaded planaria, there's one of them right now, over to just all sorts of little life forms. And it's because there's no fish in here to scare them off. All right, guys, now that we've gotten the world tour of the fish room updates, I was trying to think if there's anything spawning in here at the moment. If there is, it's these thick-lipped gouramis and the tetras, but nothing in mass. I've seen a few little babies here and there, and then there's some least killifish breeding in here. And then over here where we're going to sit down finally, and yes, there's going to be a noise of the background, and we're also going to turn on this light here. Oh, look how much better the algae problem is in this tank, though. And just look at how beautimous all those fish are. We've got the little gold ring danios, the tin winnie danios. We've got, for some reason, all my store-bought hatchet danios have lost one eye. There's 4 of them that have lost one eye. It's really odd. I think it's either a genetic thing or, yeah, I don't know. But all the wild ones have both their eyes and they're fine. It's just really weird. It's like they all had a defective eye. And look at these little CPDs coming to the front to say, hello, Secret History Living in Your Aquarium viewers. Same with this little girl. Her and him are the ones making all the little babies that I've been collecting when I see them. And when I see them, that means that they've made it at least, a week or two in the fray of all these fish, of all these CPDs and erythromicrons, and there's the Siri Creek Radnocentris. Hey, I see a member thing. Something popped up. Hold on, guys. Let me get to a spot where I can sit over in the trash heap of packaging. And I have some projects in the works. I went down to Aquarium Co-op, used your guys' money to buy some of their heaters to try out. Also got some new sponge filters just for those top tanks. And then we also got this stuff here, the crochet mesh that's made out of plastic, because we're going to set this about, yay deep off the bottom of some of the 2.5 gallon tanks that are like up there. And then what we'll do is we'll rotate in and out these little beautiful micro or nano micro machines, size fish, and let them do their egg scattering thing. And in here we've got the Caridina from Grant, and we've also got the Elosoma. So there's a little female Elosoma. So let me figure out what I'm missing. MX Rider, welcome to the channel. Guys, I apologize if I missed your questions up to this point. You guys know what to do. Go ahead and re-enter them. But I'm going to scroll down to live so that we don't lose track of like, oh, and that outdoor guy, thank you so much for the $2 super chat, man. I really do appreciate it. Love your videos. Very knowledgeable. Thanks. Well, thank you. Seriously. All you guys becoming members or super chatters, I really do appreciate it. It helps me buy new gear and stuff like that. You guys know the drill. I won't dwell on it. Asya, hello. So we do have some of these little native eosomas finally coloring up too, which is fun. They can also color down on like the flip of a light switch essentially. But we've also got in here with all these shrimp, which I don't know what I'm thinking, but maybe I'm thinking that the shrimp will be a delicacy for the eosoma. But here we've got a shrimp here. Washington State around 15 years ago, question mark? What? Should you add MX Rider? You've got one female clown killifish, and one male. Should I add more female to get them to breed or leave them alone? Um, Honestly, I would say you can get a few females, but a social group of them, they're actually a slightly social fish. So you can get like another male and maybe 3 or 4 more females would probably work the best from what I hear. I've only bred mine kind of accidentally, like while they're in the tank, like in the other room. I'll notice, oh, look, there's a few new ones. But I've never done it for the express purpose of like making money or anything. But as I understand it, a little colony is very beneficial to how successful they'll be. Coro, I have an aquascaping question. How do you utilize your hardscape and powerhead to manipulate flow in a streamscape to have dead pockets and eddies and things? So you're going to need a long tank, relatively speaking. A 40-gallon could work. I have an entire video called uh, Powerheads in my Hillstream tank from like 5 years ago. But what I mentioned is how you can have water that's agitated and oxygenated with like a drip filter like this here. And then over here or here, you add a power head and you aim it right to here. And then that will reflect to here. And then that will come back to here. And then it kind of swirls. And then any rocks you put strategically here or here or over here are going to be dead pools. And if you want, you can even put like a canister filter with its inflow over here, its outflow over there. And that kind of will create a little river. And you can tell if you're doing it somewhat right by essentially getting sand and seeing if the sand, hey, this lid fell in here. Seeing if the sand has started to, hey, there goes a banjo. Banjo, catfish. By seeing if the sand has those little riffle marks in it, and if it does, you've nailed it. Because it takes a good amount of energy to make those little riffle marks. Or a lot of low energy over time. I'm just seeing if we can find the banjo again. I don't know where he went, but a lot of times he'll pop up. There's still 3 banjo catfish in here, and they just pop out of nowhere, so I can't dig my hands anywhere in this tank. But as I was saying, I'm a little torn on whether I want to keep these guys, the blue lipped buffalo heads, or whether it's let them go time, let them go to someone else in the club or someone online. We'll see. It's just they're not very nice. All right, so here we got a little eosoma that's kind of coloring up. He's got kind of a gray tone to him right now. He has some metallic too. Corey Miller, hello. Oh yeah, if they're in a 2.5 gallon MX Rider, I would probably do double the females to males. So like in this 2.5 gallon, I could probably, if you put in some stuff like some scrubby stuff or little plants like this for them to hide amongst at the bottom in the corners, as well as you've got floating plants for them, you can then put with the Achilles, you could probably put 5 total in here, no problem. With how small those are and never get big. Dan Butts, thank you so much for the $4.99. Awesome, thank you, buddy. You rock. You rock and roll. Discordia creates says, when you mean calm spots with the power heads and the filter and the sand, do you mean dead spots or probably not? No, you don't want dead spots. The only place with that power head that I was talking about where you bounce, 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 and then it kind of swirls back here, but it loses some of its oomph. And that's why you have the power or the substrate, not substrate, gosh dang it, the sump underneath everything. If you get a chance, you can just pull it right out. All right, let's see here. How much did you miss, Corridorable? Not a whole lot. Can you do that with sponge filters? You know, depending on the sponge filter, there is one kind that you can make the little river effect with, and that is these. Actually, I need to cycle this one anyhow. But these guys, they don't put out a lot of oomph, but they do have some. And you hook them up. I love these cheapo filters here because you can get them for like 5 for $20 on Amazon or whatever. And they will, one, they're great for jump cycling tanks. So like I could put this in here for a few days to a week, and then it would totally handle jump starting the next tank for me, which is great. But if you have a strong enough air supply, it also will spray water out when it's done, which is handy. And you can take one of these off, take a knife and carefully cut like halfway to the outside all the way down, and then you've got yourself a filter intake sponge. Now, it used to be that you couldn't buy filter intake sponges. They just weren't available. And Aquarium Co-op has made them now, and there's a few other names on the market too. But it used to just be that you couldn't find them anywhere. And now that you can, it's a little less of one of the perks or tricks to use these for. But the other thing you can do is steal one of these slip off these sponges, and you can take them and you can take like a Zis Never Clog air stone, and you can put that just in the top of this till it's flush, and it will pull more water through, and use this whole thing as a way to like overhaul the sponge filter. It's like a sponge filter on steroids. And the Aquarium Co-op little side pumps, or any of the no-name brand side pumps, are plenty enough to power that. Let me get my drink, guys. I need my Dr. Pep talk. Do 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 do. All right. So Judy, thank you so much, Judy. And Judy and I got to meet, and I want to thank you, Judy. It's a pleasure, and I really do appreciate the super chat. Makes a big difference. Thank you, and I hope you're doing well. So we got a bunch of threadfin eggs the other day. That was good. We got them by putting the spawning mop in here and literally putting the thread fins in at night, and 48 hours, well, not 48, but like what, 52 hours later, so 2 nights and then a day and a half or so, or a little less than that, we put them in here. The mop was hanging, no airline, no anything. This isn't even cycled water, it's just brand spanking fresh water, and that's why you would clean it in between. But these beautiful thread fins laid about 30 eggs for me, which was very nice. And they're in a mix of 2 or 3 males, and there's probably 6 females in with them. Gourami's still growing out, doing their thing. The Pseudomagil luminatus, they're next to be spawned on the mop. So the mop, in case nobody caught it, is just the acrylic yarn variety of mop. And super easy to make, super easy to use. I don't know where I put it, but I have a lot of them. I've made a lot of them over the years. I'm just looking for it right now. It was sitting right here with all the mess. But let's turn on the top light too. Roxanne, you don't have to put on your top light. So the other thing is, remember when the power went out? Well, I lost my little well, now he's gone anyways, but I was gonna talk about my Candidii. Oh, this water's not so warm. This water is only 76 degrees. Oh, it's because the top of the Higer came out of the water. So we're gonna want to warm that up a little bit. We'll warm that up to like 80. We got a big old cinnamon leaf in there doing its work. Hydras, yeah, they can kill fry and nanofish. They're no more problem in saltwater than fresh. Yeah. Let's see here. Just looking for questions. Do you like those sparkling gouramis? I want some. Or the chocolates. I like these chocolates much more. These. Sometimes they'll call them karate or kung fu or rainbow. But I like these guys a lot. Sometimes they'll call them ninja. They're very inquisitive. They're very personable. And this is one of the runts. The older ones or the bigger ones are elsewhere. I don't know, floating around here somewhere. But this here, the black line Candidii cichlid, he lost his female mate, and now I'm out of luck. So I need to get him another mate if I ever find those again or anytime soon, preferably. Let's see here. Yeah, I do like sparkling gouramis though too, as you know, just as a fish in general. They can be a little bit rambunctious just by their nature, but they're pretty cool. Also, we've got Vinay color guppies line over here. There's a bunch of algae on the thing, but these are the sulfur Ginga sulpharis. And look at that. Oop, we've got a beta Rubens or rubra that is crashing the party, saying hello. Look at this little male over here. They're very colorful, very pretty little fish. And if we come up a level, we've got my vinegar eels. You can see them doing their thing, doing their little wiggly wigglies. Then we've got the scud tank doing its scuddity-duddity. And it also has a paramecium culture. Can you guys see all that white dot material? So that's what I mostly use to feed. Now Kenny just called me, and I wonder what that's about. I wonder if he's left me a text. I don't think so. Okay. Watch. He's like, you're hanging out of your boxers or something probably. So then we've also got the Beta machiensis. Let's bring this light forward more. And these are beautiful. They're real nice fish. The female's farther back there, and they're mouth brooders. And I don't know if they have any babies right now. If they do, they might be hiding if they're done being in the mouth of the female back there. Let's take oh, and here's the mop, by the way. Actually, you know what? The mop's been in the tank, so we can actually see if anybody used it. Even though it's been in the big tank, we can still check. And we're gonna look real quick here and see if we find any baby. See all this mulm and most people would say nasty stuff. Well, this is where all the baby nano fish all the way up to bettas, no problem, bettas like this too. This is where they'll hang out, is down low. And oftentimes you'll find them just doing their thing. And the parents will have had them. Now, can we get a good shot of her or him? Let's see. If we move the light all the way out here, is that going to help? I was just trying to show that they're bright blue. And then we've got my rainbow shiner, my one last rainbow shiner who needs some friends. In here, there's definitely some baby bettas because I moved them myself. And I don't know how small they're going to be, if they're going to be 1 inch or if they're going to be like, oh, no, they're getting big. Yeah, so there's some machiensis bettas. There's probably 5 or 6 babies of this age. And so they've grown a lot, like 3 or 4 times their original size as when I stole them out of this tank. But basically, I just let them colony breed at their own pace. Over here, we've got some empire gudgeons doing their thing. And look at this moss ball. This is a giant moss ball that's formed just over time. And I don't even really need to feed them. I basically just let scuds and all these little critters provide their food, which is nice and easy for me. So let's take a look at this mop and see if we got any eggs. Oh, we got some more super chats. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And we're gonna need a light. Where'd my light? Second light go? Oh, always losing my lights, losing my marbles. All right, so we've got Pacific Northwest Aqua party time. Excellent. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that, Ryan. Let's see here. Who else? I thought I saw another one too. Oh, here we go. Corey Dorable, Cali aquariums. I have heavily planted tanks and still have high nitrates. If there's a missing macro micronutrient with the plants, will the plants not use up the nitrates? Yeah, and that's called the law of limiting factors or the law of limitations. So whatever you're limited on is going to cease. So if you don't have enough carbon or phosphates or hell, zinc, even though you have all the carbon or all the nitrates in the world, it can't grow past a certain point where it needs that zinc or manganese or magnesium. So I would say do some water changes and then maybe get yourself some root tabs that are kind of a good all-in-one root tab type solution. Maybe even a liquid fert, and we can go look at a couple options that I have. But while this is still wet, let's take a look at real quick and see if we have any of these. Saints Dust, hello. Glad you're listening while you're cleaning tanks. Let's see if we have any eggs in the mop, even though this is a community tank, which makes me think they would get eaten pretty quickly. But we're going to see. We're going to see. Have I ever bred crayfish? No. I mean, not intentionally. I've had CPOs have babies before, and a few of them survive, but I've never intentionally bred crayfish. And now it's become illegal the last 5 years in Washington. So the stuff that I used to do would now be illegal, and I just don't want to deal with that. I'm not gonna die on my sword over crayfish right now, especially since I've got the channel. You know, people would say something. Seriously, anytime I do anything like show a plant that could be invasive or I don't anything questionable, it's like, how do these people find my videos yet like nobody's watching the content? On the other hand, like nobody's watching a lot of the old stuff, and yet someone will pop out of nowhere and they'll be like, report, and then I get a strike against the account. Like my walking through the woods talking about mushrooms video from 3 or 4 years ago, that recently got flagged, and I'm under a warning where if I get another one, I'll be suspended. You know, oh, there's an egg. Let me see if we can get the angle right so you guys can see it. So right there is the egg, but it's white. It's clouded up and no good. But a lot of times when you find one, that means that you'll find more because they have this sticky little thread or fiber where there'll be 3 or 4 oftentimes all stuck together. And is that one? No. But might not be so lucky today. Might just have the one dead egg. And this is probably just indicative of them eating the eggs when they get bored, rather than not spawning at all. So don't ever feel bad if you put a spawning mop in a community tank and it comes out with nothing spawning on it. It doesn't mean you messed up or anything like that. It's just the way of the world. So we're going to put this back into this tank. And later we'll try these Luminatus. You're going to attempt to make your own all-in-one fert? Nice. I have done that in the past. It's just a lot of work. And I've found products that I like just as much. Brightwell's Flourish, I like that. Because the iron and the carbon and the nitrates are all separate. So that works really well. Yeah, I like that one. But in this tank, I just dose potassium. And all the nitrates, nitrites, everything are coming from the fish themselves. So the fish just are creating it. And I feed them good premium quality food. And that includes this stuff, this TDO, Reef Nutrition, for fish 1 to 2 inches. And it's crude protein 50%, fat 14%, fiber 3.5, moisture, so just water 7, crude ash. Now that is important because it says crude ash, but what it really is potash. And potash is going to be an interesting one in that it's full of potassium for your tank. So when you feed this, you're going to get all sorts of, not just, you don't get just the, you're not just feeding the things that you think you are. You're actually getting, even in the filler and stuff, you're getting food for your aquarium. And a lot of people don't think about that when they're picking out a food, is what trace minerals are in there for my plants. And it's just something to think about. But you know, I have a video from a few days ago where I literally was looking in all my tanks and I was trying to find tanks that had babies that weren't expected. And so it was at nighttime and I had a flashlight and I was checking the corners of all the tanks. And I found quite a few that had little fry in there. And I rescued them and I put all of them into this shrimp tank. And so it'll be interesting to see what motley crew grows out of all these little tiny fish that I rescued that are in here. Also, these guys are getting back in spawning shape, feeding them more again. Here's the big female. And they're, again, mouth brooders, cichlids. And the thing that was huge in here that surprised me the other day was the Synodontis angelicus have gotten ginormous in here. And the babies, they've taken on a life of their own. They're almost adult size now. The once babies, like this one, and there are a total of 6 babies that survived from juvenile to adulthood all the way through in this tank, with 4 adults present, which is 3 females and a male. And it looks like a couple of the babies might be coming up male. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, when the light's on them good, boy, they look pretty. It's just, they destroy all the plants in their tank. They rip up everything to the point where it's just gravel and mulm. And it's just kind of a frustrating tank. I kind of wish this was a big community tank with like discus or something. So that's something else to think about. I'll probably do a poll on the channel where people can decide what they'd rather see in the future. If you guys would rather see this turn back into a big lush tall aquascape. I miss the aquascape verticality, you know. And same with the 40 breeders. I miss, you know, that. I also want a 55-gallon, which would just barely fit in here. So we'll see. But yeah, does anybody have any other questions? Because I'm probably going to sign off soon, as I know others stream on this evening, and it's 7:30 already. But I want to make sure whoever asks any questions here that you guys get them answered. Cara C, what's up? Good to see you. When's the next fish stream? Friday. So it'll be Friday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Cora, yeah, sure. Whatever that means, you're welcome. Oh, guys, I forgot to show you guys this. So check this out, guys. All right. So the catkins from the magnolia tree did absolutely nothing, but they are a lot of surface area, and I'm sure a lot of nitrifying bacteria would colonize the little fuzzy pods. But that water looks clear as can be. It almost looks like a cornstarch or I mean a corn syrup or something, the way it's like a little too clear with a slight hint of something to it. Then next, we've got the leaves from outside from the camellia bush. Barely any color here either. But the acidity did go down slightly to like 6.8, starting with 7. Now this was willow branches or willow leaves. And these are nice and light and delicate, and they have a lot of nutrients in them, but they're also very, very antifungal, antiparasitical because of the, what's it called? Paragalatin, paragalic acid, or gallic acid, one of its constituents. And then here we have our gold standard or our catappa leaves, which you can see have kind of a tea-colored yellow. It's been 3 days now. They look okay. There's definitely wood rot going on, which is just the tannins and the lignin and cellulose turning into a fungal bloom at the top of the tank or tank cup. And then we've got the magnolia, or rather madrona bark, and this got really nice and red, nice and almost like a red ale or cider. And then we get darker and darker. Here we go. These are the alder cones. This was using what, 5 of the little ones. The pH on this dropped all the way to 5.4. So definitely dangerous to fish if you overdo alder cones at times, and shrimp. And then most dark, but the pH was only 6.8, was the red oak, or rather the acorns with the red caps. 4 of them turned that red. So there's a sneak peek into some of the tannin stuff I'm going to be working with and playing with, and we're going to be learning about each one. So yeah. Alex, is there a list of aquarium safe tannins to DIY collect in North America? There sure isn't. No, this is all very new stuff. Science has not even really come up with a clear answer to that by any means, because there are over 8,000 different tannins that have been discovered now within different plants. But, you know, a grape skin versus an oak tree versus the oak tree in a limestone bedrock area, they're all going to have different tannins and different chemical compounds. Judy texted me. Okay, awesome. Let's see here. But we're trying to get good info to the hobby on what we can collect here in North America as good tannins. For the most part, more things are helpful than not, it seems, at this point in time. Discordia Crate says, this is a good community to be a part of. Mostly chill. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. And it's because of you guys that it is that way. And so I have to thank you guys for all of that. Super, super appreciate how compassionate you guys are, how everybody's here to learn and help lift one another up. It's what you'd see on a very small channel of like 3,000 or 4,000 people, yet we're at almost 36, 37,000. When, you know, we're going to be at 40,000 very soon. And it means a lot. And I really do appreciate it. And I'm humbled by the kindness and everything that you guys show one another and me. What type of food do you like using for keeping apistos? Ideally, I like baby brine shrimp or actual brine shrimp. Those work well. Daphnia work great, gut loaded ones. Worms, black worms, and then blood worms are probably their favorite as far as what they like. That's what I would say. Is that willow oak? No, it's a willow, a weeping willow. Let's see here. Glad you found us and Alex. Yes, first class, I agree. I'm glad that y'all found your way here. I found my way to you. However it worked in a cosmic sense. What filter do you recommend for a 65-gallon that is 2 feet tall? You want something with a downspout and intake that is long, or rather extendable, changeable. I tend to like Marineland, just these kind of like little box filters, because you can customize them however you want, and they make them all the way up to big sizes. But the other one that I do actually like quite a bit is over here. This one is simple, but a good one. I think this one was a Tetra one. Let's see here, or Sarah. And I don't love that the impellers here, it can get clogged. And then as you can see here, you actually can create almost a plenum, because this gets so matted by substrate after a long time that you're actually filtering fast up through here still, and then slowly seeping into the plenum. Then it's bacteria and all that can do its job, and then it goes right back through. So I do like the hang off the back type. You can change out charcoal or trays or bio beads, whatever you prefer. So if you're trying to polish your water, maybe you want to do that. If not, maybe you just want to have bio beads. And go. There's everybody. Yeah. Is there a, oh no, okay. Alex, would Neos be okay spawning in a spawning tank for pencilfish, or would the eggs be so small they'd get eaten? Would Neocaridinus be okay in a spawning tank? Yeah, they'd probably be okay, other than the baby Neocaridinus would probably get eaten, but I don't think the eggs would get eaten by the shrimp too much. Maybe a few, but can I use salmon instead of tilapia for making frozen fish food? 100%. It's just about what your fish eat. So if they're big carnivores that want lots of fat and protein, they'll love that. if they're geophagus or something that sifts through the sand and eats just kind of whatever it finds, and algae and wood and all that, probably not going to dig that. So just be reasonable. Boots. Where's boots? Important question. Oh, okay, we got that one. Before you buy shrimp, you wanted to know. What type of food do you like using to keep your hair so luxurious? Probably bar soap. I eat a lot of that. Dr. Pepper, of course. Geek Boy. Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. Yeah, you have the super red Sanipa pencil fish, huh? Well, you are my enemy. I need them. Give them now. All right, guys, I'm gonna bounce out of here. So have a wonderful, blunderful. Life is beauty. Life is beautiful. So have a wonderful night. Raise one up. Thank you so much, super chatters, viewers, those of you who go back and watch the old videos. I'm going to make a Tannin playlist soon, just so that's all in one place. If you guys can think of any other playlists you'd like to see put together, put that in the comments at the end of this video. But again, I appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to go take a nap now. Much love, and I'll see you guys Friday, or rather Tuesday into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in 3 days time, 72 hours, same bat place, same bat time-ish, give or take an hour. Should be around 4:30 that we actually start, I would guess. All right, guys, take care. Take care of your fish. Take care of yourself. And I'll talk to you later.